If you want to sit at the table, pull up a chair. I'm your host, Sonia, with Welcome to Let's Bring It to the Table, where we talk about how to enhance our lives by addressing issues that specifically impact our life. Today, we're still on the 48 Laws of Power. We're going to talk about Law 1 and Law 2. But first, let me introduce you to our panel. We have Toyana, we have Emily, we have Alois, and we have Michelle. Welcome, ladies. I appreciate y'all coming on.
For having
No problem. So we're going to talk about the first law. That first law is a pretty much of a doozy, because some people, they understand it, sometimes they don't. But with the 48 laws, some people feel experience and the choices when it's, you don't have to feel powerless, because everything you do in life, whether it's work, play, relationships, children, you can take some of this and use it as a way of gaining back your boundaries, your self-esteem, and anything else that you decide to in this work of life. I just don't believe in when people use it for evil, because still nothing's come free. Karma is a sister, and she will come and visit you, and I don't think you'll like the end results with that. But going right on to it, law number 1 is never outshine the master. It states that in this law that you make your master appear more brilliant than they are. You will attain to your higher power. And I'm in a sense, I do that with this power because of the fact that anybody that I put on the forefront, I'm always let them shine. I like the knowledge of knowing that I helped did that. I don't have to be on the front seat. I just don't. Some people do. They have to always be seen. Some people don't feel that way. You always make those around you feel comfortable. And that's in anything, even those who are not. And when they say master, don't take it literally thinking we talking about slaves or whatever. What they're saying is anybody is within that is in a higher place than you, like management, or you're working on things, those things. You obtain, your position, which is tight and right, by doing what it takes to build them, because when you build them, you build you.
Yes.
Correct. I'm like
Yes.
a person, like, doing stuff like that. Because when you help people with stuff that I don't want to be, I want them to get the glory or whatever out here. So I stay behind, and I encourage people to do the right thing, or they ask for encouragement or comfort, then show them that they can do anything they put their mind up to, trying to be like monster do that. But at the same time, I sit back and I observe also, because I think I'm better than them. I'm higher than them. I can do anything that better than they can do. So I try to humble myself and give people the best.
Okay. I like also in the law 1, it says everyone is insecure, but an insecure boss can retaliate more strongly than others can. And I find that to be very true, simply for the fact I have a testament when I was working at a job, and I'll allow that company to remain nameless, where my boss was indeed insecure. And his way of shoving his weight around was to make others feel insecure, inferior of him, to the point where he falsely accused me of smelling like alcohol when I first got to work. And I had to pause and make sure that I was hearing what I was hearing. And I actually took the liberty of went into human resources, because he had told me, well, you can just go home and then you can come back. And I'm thinking to myself, why would I leave when I have done nothing wrong? And I definitely had not been drinking that morning, neither the night before. Mm-hmm. So went to Human Resources, reported the action because he was very adamant about me leaving. And I knew right away if I had left, then that means that I was taking ownership of his words. And I was not going to do that because, for one, I had not done anything to even be getting addressed in this manner. But this was just his way of, I guess, shoving his weight around, making me understand that he's the boss. And before this, me and him had no issues. So I was very, very floored that this was happening. But nevertheless, went to Human Resources, explained to them what was going on, that I did not want to go home. I had not did anything wrong. So Human Resources personnel talked to him. Next thing I know, I'm getting papers to go and take a breathalyzer at a clinic. So get to this clinic, take the breathalyzer. It takes less than a second for you to breathe in a breathalyzer. It came back 0.00. And then on top of that, I had to take a drug test. So took the drug test. 72 hours later, everything came back that neither I did not have any drugs in my system and I did not have any alcohol in my system. So the company had to give me an apology as well as pay me for my 72 hours for not being at work. And I say that all to say is when you are being bullied or mistreated on your job, don't retaliate back. Like you said before, humble yourself, walk that journey, because in the end, I had to get an apology. I was paid for my hours, and I just never really trusted that boss from the jump. But this was just confirmation of what I was feeling about him was real. The intuition that he was a bully, that he would do things to intimidate people, to get people to leave the job, so that his former job, he had a team, and he wanted to bring those teammates on. So when you're dealing with an insecure boss, one thing you never want to do is you do not want to retaliate. You do not want to go head on with them. You want to make sure that you keep your name and your reputation clean, because this could very well tarnish my reputation had I just went home and not walked that journey and went ahead and followed suit with whatever they required me to do that allowed my name to stay clean. And then it also gave me respect with other department leaders that yet she was falsely accused, she never retaliated. She stayed professional, and I still continue to do my job as I was required to. And long story short, this boss ended up getting a lawsuit on the company by mistreating another employee much later, like a couple of years later. And so they end up paying him out of his contract. And mind you, I'm a Christian, so my way of handling things is to sit with the Father, tell him everything. And this is exactly what he told me to do, was to humble myself. And I had to walk that journey. It was hard. It was very hard because my flesh was being crucified. But in the end, that boss that had mistreated me and tried to come against my character and my reputation, he ended up being paid out of his contract, fired, and they replaced him with someone else. Retaliation should never be on the table. Respect, regardless if that person is being respectful to you or not, should always be on the table, because your character and your name is on the line.
Okay.
I agree. I truly agree with that. I have had the accident happen to me too when I was just, and I didn't know how I was gonna make it or whatever, but God was with. I mean, through it all. At the end of the day, I was working for a company that tickets for people when they go in and out, and so at the end of the day, ticket thing got stolen overnight. So when I went back, he told me, he said, I took the ticket thing. I stole. That's how can I steal for? So he politely told me, I'm fine. I said, okay, that's fine. It's him. I said, I thank you and I appreciate your service. So A couple weeks later, they fired him. So the both always tell me you reap where you sow. So I just stayed there for a reason. I'm better. I'm in a better position than I am now. And I thank God for that. Open your eyes, let you see things clearly too, and learn from it. Learn from other
Yes.
other people. So I thank God for that.
And in that situation, what it taught me was that it taught me the type of leader that I want to be, that I already knew that I could be and that I desired to be. But when you're in a confrontational situation where you're being ridiculed or mistreated and your character's on the line, when you allow them to do whatever they need to do and you do not allow that to provoke you into anything that you are not, it allowed everyone around who are involved to see the truth, to see the true colors of them,
Mm-hmm.
and the truth about what they're trying to proceed about you, that there is just not true. There's no merit. So you don't have to fight evil with evil. You can take the high road and just allow the chips fall the way they may. Because while I forgave him and I understood what he was trying to do, I didn't allow it to deter me for who I am and who I wanted to be perceived as.
Okay. So
Absolutely.
go ahead, Toyana.
And along with that, Emily and I understand and have been, whereas, I was a little felt the way about my because of some of the things that I was seeing from the kind of raise a brow, vice versa. I had to carry myself around and the leadership team was a global position, and I actually dealt with the U.S. and also China quite a bit. Cultural differences or what have you, learn to strictly stay neutral, and that my idea of being respectful, their idea of being respectful, if you know what I mean, way that I approach is that in any leader's shoes, what would be my ideal employee, and with that, I would do the help type deal. Times where I wasn't treated fairly, my direct manager, kind of tarnished my reputation a tad bit. They always maintain that how can I help? What do I need to do, to help this along? People globally really was. I mean, that's really who I genuinely. In that particular case, even though sometimes it doesn't feel like you're being treated fairly or what have you to do to maintain respect, it always prevails in those. I'm the type, if you're not being fair to me or what, I can't kind of sing your praises or what, understand that I committed to, to all in this together, whether we get along or not, the high road, and still maintain. How can I be of assistance? And once I completely try and help others as well, and that's something monotony and keeps things, and breaks down, some of the hostility that
breaking up.
I can hear you. You're breaking up a little bit, but I can hear.
I can understand some of it, but you're breaking up. It's okay. Go ahead. Keep going. I think it's in the mic. I'm not sure.
Okay, can you hear me now?
A little bit better, yeah.
But yes, just you know, and having and showing yourself in situations, intimidation that you could,
Yeah.
you may be more educated. They be more educated than just about everyone. But if you show them, listen, I understand serving this role, and I just want to help. So it takes some of that out.
Yeah.
Show the respect for them. Their roles and everything.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
And that word
And
respect go a
a long
long
way.
way.
Yes,
Your
I agree.
that
Yes.
respect goes a long way in life,
Yeah.
Monica. And
I
reputation,
agree. Mm-hmm.
your reputation, respect, the word respect.
Yes.
Repeat, respect.
There's two rules that you must realize. You can inadvertently outshine a master simply by being yourself. And if you just being yourself and you being true to yourself, they can still see that as a threat, but you're doing what you do best. So, sometimes, you have to put that charm on for them not to feel threatened. Because,
Right.
some people, they insecure, which brings to loss too.
Yes.
These
Mhm.
persons are more insecure than others, and
Yes.
you thinking that them being in a higher power that they're not, but they are, and you
Yes.
may naturally outshine them by your charm and your grace, and that's something that a lot of people should be able to do if they know how to do it. And
Right.
even with that, if you're able to charm and let your grace flow, you can make the person that's in leadership feel a little bit more comfortable knowing
Right.
that you have your back and you're not out for your job. Because in this world, especially as Black women, the first thing they do if they find out you got a degree or you know more than them, they feel you as a threat. You're going to always be a threat no matter what you say, no matter what you do. So you have to make them feel comfortable, even if
Right.
they're your counterpart.
Right.
It was a job I was in, and when they were introducing me to everything, the first that irked me to my core when that lady kept saying, "Oh, her name is Sonia. She has her degree in management. She has her degree." And she said that to every person we stopped at their desk, and to find out half the management team that was there didn't even have a degree. But I
Wow.
wasn't there for their job. I was just there for a hot minute till I got where I wanted to go, because
Yes.
it was a temporary position. But they were threatened by me in a temporary position
Wow.
because I had to make them feel comfortable, because
Yes.
I didn't want them doing anything that was going to jeopardize me getting my money.
Right. And you don't want people to retaliate against you. So with if you're dealing with a boss that have issues or whatever, you can compliment them and say, you know what, I really understand your vision. I appreciate your vision. I um really like your management skills. Because not only are they maybe threatened of you, but they may be also threatened of other managers that departments may be outshining their department.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a lot of stress. They got a lot going on, and here you is new on the scene. Maybe doing a great job, sitting up there. The light is shining on you. People getting to talking about you, praising you for your work ethics, maybe complimenting how you dress and things of that nature. To see your professionalism, your willingness to go beyond the call of your job. A lot of people get on companies, not just managers, but the staff. They get comfortable. They don't want to do it a lot extra. They just there for the check. They're not really there for a career. And there you come in very ambitious, very focused. Willing to do what needs to be done without compromising your character, your stats with the company, but making yourself an access. People get threatened by that. Staff
Mm-hmm.
members
Oh,
can also be insecure about that. I never forget one time my mom always told me to dress for success, carry yourself in the manner of a lady. That's something that you should always do. So one day I was, at this same company, and I heard these two ladies whispering, and I already did felt an uncomfortable vibe about them. and they were saying, Michelle Obama. Like, what did that mean? I was too dressy. They would come in wearing whatever.
You should have took that as praise.
I did because the first lady, and
Yeah.
I am a lady. I carry myself as such. But it just go to show that, like you said earlier, you can just be your normal self and people will find that to be a threat.
Mm-hmm.
So
Crystal
in
said
some, in
Go
some
ahead.
instances, in some instances, you cannot avoid criticism. You cannot avoid insecure people. The world is
Right.
full of them. Even we ourselves may have moments when we're insecure.
Mm-hmm.
But
Crystal
you
stated the light that God shines in you may intimidate them, and all along you are being yourself and doing your job. Stay
Your light.
humble in your position, and God will take care of everything else.
I
Petronella
agree.
Petronella stated that's what leadership trying to make the others feel less of themselves. And then she stated, which that was good to have, but if she was boasting, then that would make the others feel insecure.
Wow. Yeah,
That's true.
I agree. I
Mhm.
agree. Because leadership, they compete against each other for the director's attention. And maybe don't want to be a manager. Maybe they want to go a step higher, whatever that next role is. So there's always competition. Even if you're not in a competition, there's always probably someone is in a competition with you.
Michelle, it seems like you got something to say. I know you're in management, so don't give us some
Yeah.
jewels, lady.
No, everything. Can you hear me? Yeah,
Yes.
good. Okay. Everything that you guys hit on was just like, you're spot on. There is a hierarchy for a reason, right? And you have leaders for a reason. They're supposed to help develop you and inspire you for your next role. Those are what your coaching conversations are supposed to be about. What do you want to do next? Where do you see yourself in the organization? Things like that. But unfortunately, no matter how much you think that you are applying law number one,
You don't.
Yes.
no. I'll share a story kind of similar to what you guys were talking about. And I did everything to acknowledge the strengths of my direct manager at that point in time. When I tell you this lady was the definition of Black excellence, I just totally was enamored with how she handled herself, how she spoke, how she dressed, everything about her. But for some reason, this lady didn't like the best bone in my body. And I couldn't figure out why. And I'll be honest, very transparent. I used to wonder, I would go home, I would take it home with me, trying to figure out, like, what is it that I'm doing wrong? What could I have done better? You know, you tend to start beating up on yourself when you're in those type of situations. And that's what creates that hostile work environment for you. You're not really wanting to go to work, things like that. So as much as you try to embrace law number one, sometimes it just doesn't work out in your best interest at all, whatever that reason might be. But the other part to that is you can definitely learn a lot of different things from your leaders. Likewise, your leaders can learn from you. So the role that I'm in, every time I meet with someone, it's about understanding what skill sets you bring to the table and how we can utilize that. I tell all of my teammates, you heard I said teammates, right? Not my subordinates, but my teammates, because we're in this together. There is no winning without you. I need you. Literally, I need you to survive. So whatever you bring to the table, let's see how we can incorporate that for everyone to win.
I agree.
And that's how I deal with things. I never say I'm your manager. I said, no, we're working together. And this is what I'm going to give. These are the tools that I have. What do you need from me? What do we need to work on together in order to accomplish the goal? So I don't need you to downplay or dummy down anything that you have. Let's use it. because at the end, we're all going to win. The organization wins, the shareholders win, everybody wins. That's what we're really here to do. So I've never really understood the trying to outshine or trying to hurt other individuals by way of writing them up or making them feel uncomfortable, or, you know, just doing things that are so unnecessary. I've experienced real unnecessary things being done to people. And the part that hurts me the most is you're not just doing it to that person, you're doing it to the team, you're doing it to the organization, you're doing it to their family. Because remember, they still have to interact with other people. So that energy that you've left with them now becomes a part of what they have to deal with. So you got to be really careful when you're in leadership. There's an expectation. There's an expectation for you to do the right thing, because it just doesn't impact right then and there. Like I just explained, there's a downstream impact. So yeah, this was great. This was great. Thank you.
And you know, one thing that they have said before, you know, that even with you have these superiors that are a fallen angel, they're fallen star, you know, never, there's a moment. There are key moments when you can outcharm, outdo, outsmart. You know, you just have to know that key moment. You know, it's not to speak badly on you, you know, because you're there for a reason, especially if you're making this a career. You have to, because sometimes that person will do everything to dull you down.
Yes.
If I was in a position before where I created something for the job that was going to help the whole entire department, and you know, and I got to a point where I was getting blocked every which way, and I just said, I'm just going to let it go. I'm not going to do any more with it. I'm not going to let it. I'm just going to let it go. And when I did that, they act like I never exist. They act like I never did anything. I built it from the ground up. I did everything. And not once was there a thank you, you know, because with me and her, we kept going wit's end, because it was certain things I did not tolerate. You're not going to disrespect me. You're not going to call me a girl. You're not going to do this. I'm just as equal as you, you know, so. But I did always give her accolades. Despite everything else, I gave her accolades. But, you know, everybody feel like if they go in there and look, they'll see my name is on there, because I know she don't know how to get it off. But out in the world, it is seen as if she built it, she created, she did anything, and it wasn't even her idea. Someone else wanted me to shine and brought me in to do it when I knew what was going to be the end result. And the end result, what it was. So, you know, just that wasn't the key moment. But know that when you have that key moment, don't be afraid to walk in that door, because that's nothing but a door opening. Don't be afraid to walk on that door, but do it with the tact that I didn't come here to destroy you. I came here to uplift me.
Yes. Yes. And no, also in Law 2, it talks about we're not
in Law 2 yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. What was you going to say, Lois?
That made me think about a lot of things that I have went through on my job, but I went in silence. But I had God by my side all the way. I mean, it was like going like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It went on for about a year and a half. It's like dumb, like it didn't exist, but it exists. And so everything that what they did to me, or tried to do to me, I had my Bible out on my desk on Psalm 91 every day. Psalm 37.
37. Oh, yes.
On my desk, they did not come near me.
Yes.
God took care of all of them except one.
Wow.
He said, this one here. But I took care of the 4. He took care of all 5, all 4. One stayed. But all the other 5, he took care of them. And now I had a year and a half. I'm still here. I'm still standing. Because they couldn't know who I am. I'm a child of the Most High. He took care of them. So I ain't it. So
yes, the Bible says that the battle is not ours, but the Lord's. The battle is His. And I love Psalm 37 because it says, fret not. Fret not yourself. That you will look for them and you would not see them anymore. God will remove them from your eyesight.
And he did,
You will not even,
honey.
and he will give you such a victory that you will not even remember. Because it says that your latter days will be greater than your former days. So those former days of that harassment, of that wrong treatment, or those embarrassing instances, he's saying that after you overcome that, after that is over and you in those days to come, and they're gonna be so good. And I'm just gonna add my own little piece. You're not gonna remember it because you're gonna. If your latter days is so good, why would you even want to remember it?
God, I think
It would be
God
so good.
he gave me a sense of, give me more wisdom, knowledge, and hang around who I need to be with. Because those people, you think they're your friend, they're not. Why they're behind your back, they laughing at you behind your back, but they're laughing at you. And a lot of stuff, and I thank you for that. Because when you say you got friends, you think they're your friend, they turn you down behind your back. I have seen
and they could be talking to your boss about you. So that's why you want to definitely stay out the cliques, the groupies, because everybody on the staff level want to be in leadership, or at least want their pay increase. They want something. They want to look good in the eyesight of their manager. So, and then as well as managers, they want to look good in the sight of whomever is their superior. But you definitely want to make sure that you stay away from things of that nature, because that will definitely play a role on your boss doing everything he can to try to get rid of you or make you so miserable that you just leave.
And you have to understand too, when you're on a job, you don't go in there to make friends. That's not a place to make friends. You go there to do a job. So you never go into a place, hoping and wishing to make friends, to get in a clique, because I think of that as being where you are looking for, acceptance. That's not what the goal is. And so with that even being said, we're going into law 2. Never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use your enemies. Be wary of your friends. They will betray you more quickly, for they are easily aroused to envy. They always bring spoils and tyranny, but hire a former enemy, and he will be more loyal than a friend because he has more to prove. In fact, you have more to fear from friends than from enemies. If you had no enemies, find a way to make them. That's
wow.
Funny.
I definitely believe that you can trust your enemies more than your friends, because if you have believed this individual to be your friend, they know intimate details about your life and shortcomings that an enemy may not know. Because that enemy may perhaps, unless it's a friend, turn to an enemy. That enemy just don't like you from on the outskirts. They not really in that intimate setting, but that friend is in that intimate setting, and you might be having a bad moment one day, and you just pour out your heart to them, and it could be just that moment, that you need that shoulder to lean on, and then if they are this individual, take that moment and begin to build a case against you. Well, I don't know why she complaining. You might have had an instance with your marriage, an instance with one of your kids. They may not have no marriage, no kids, and they're looking at you like, why are you complaining? You have everything. Just because you have a marriage, just because you have kids and a business and money, does not exempt you from trauma, hell, and hot water. You're gonna need somebody you can talk to. So if they're your friend and you didn't give them all this information about an intimate moment where your shortcoming came from, they could very well be envious of your life, envious that you're married, envious that you have kids, and then secretly hating on you, and then can become an enemy. And they have all this leverage, all this intimate detailed information to use to try to bring you down. Versus an enemy can become a comrade. An enemy will join forces with you to bring somebody else down, a common enemy down. But you, even if they're joining forces with you to bring down a common enemy, you shouldn't give them too much information either. Because once you have overcome this common enemy, then they could use that same information and try to bring you down. So it's very important that you know who is your real friend, because there are people out there that will genuinely be your friend, your confidant. They don't care what you got, what you wearing, none of this. They just genuinely have kindling spirits, and they just appreciate your life in the earth. They're not concerned if you're elevating, if you're shining, if you're living your best life. They just like you. You a good company, mind, soul, and all. And they're not threatened by you. They're not insecure. They're not intimidated. They're not competing. They just glad you in their life. That's a confidant. And you're not going to have
if we had enough time, I would tell you the people in the back didn't hear you. You need to repeat that. Because it speaks volumes, because everybody's not jealous. And you have to understand the nature of friends. It was a lady, and I gave her a warning before the storm. And I wasn't really a friend. I just knew her, and I knew about her store. I knew the clothing she had. She sold very nice clothes for plus size women as well. And I went into her store. She had just opened the store. I didn't get to go to the grand opening, so I came to make sure I made purchase to support. I walked in the store. Her two cousins, she said was her best friends, were up in there cussing, gyrating on music that she didn't have, and she was a jazz lover. That was one thing me and her had in common. I mean, everything that she was not, it was so ratchet in there, and I'm just walking around. Nobody said, hey, how you doing? Nobody opened their mouth. They too busy cussing and talking and juking to the music and stuff. And I was like, okay, where is she at? I just stopped. I said, where is so-and-so? Oh, she in the back. She on an important call. I said, okay, can you go check? I just said she on a call. I said, oh, okay. I waited 5 minutes and I walked my butt back there. They didn't even know I had walked back there. I walked my butt back there. And I told her, I said, look, you need to do something about that situation or you will not last. I said, this was a horrible experience walking into this establishment, and everything that you was telling us about how you wanted your store, I said, they ain't it. And she said, girl, I'm going to talk to them. That's family. Them my best friends. They got my back. I said, for you to pay them? Yeah, they got your back. But they're not going to do anything that's going to make your store survive. I said, you won't last a year with them type of people working in here. Find someone else. You don't hire family. You just don't. I told her that you don't hire family when you're in a brick and mortar business because they will fail you. I've seen it time and time again. She didn't even last a year. And she came back and she said, I wish I had listened to you, but I was listening to mom and them talking about they need a job. I said, yeah, everybody need a job. Go out there and find you one. This was not it. This was not it. You cannot, in most situations, you cannot hire family, especially if it's a cousin or a sister or whatever, because you don't know what goes on in their mind. They might say they love you. They might say that they got your best interest or whatever. But in the back, they'll say, oh, that's a beautiful poem. And that's all you're going to get. It was a beautiful poem. They're not, and you posting it and you telling people to share it and stuff. They're not going to share. They're not going to do that. But they'll give you your props in your face, but they do nothing behind your back to bring you up.
Wow. I love this post on Facebook. It says that have friends that pray behind your back. You're praying me through. You're not stabbing me in my back, but you're praying me through. Because we're all human. Everybody have a good and bad day. Everybody. But they have a sister, a friend that will pray you through versus try to tear you down. That's real treasure to me. People is like treasure. It's not the money.
Yeah. Crystal, I like that. Raven wolves in sheep clothing. And and sometimes they don't even realize it. They just true to who they are. But you have to recognize it. When people, like they said, and I hate that, but I'm learning that when people show you who you are,
that's who they
at the beginning, trust and believe that's who they are. Because I'm a person of second, and I'm very transparent. I'm a person of second chances. You know, I'm that one that'll go for fight with the underdog when everybody else done turned their back on them, because I got to give you an opportunity to prove them wrong, not me wrong, because I see something more in you that you could be better than what you are presenting. You might not know that. So I feel like it's my job to try to pull that out so everybody can see the real beauty that I'm already seeing when you walked in that door. I'm not, that's not me being naive. That's just me being true to who I am.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Yes, there's nothing wrong with that. The Bible says that we should always seek to see the best in people. To allow that to be our first impression, to believe the best in them. And to me, I will believe the best about you, even if I'm feeling some type of static. Maybe you have an off day, but I'll let you counsel your own self in my life.
There you go.
I'll let you,
there you go.
You got credit right off the bat. You have credit, but you gonna fall off on your own. I'm not gonna, try to damage your reputation and all these things, because when you go through pain and suffering of having that done to you, it causes you to be compassionate to others.
Yeah. For real.
And so you just gonna dab it down yourself, and then you're gonna cancel yourself out. But it won't be no help for me. That's how I feel about that. Even be careful with praying. Somebody, Crystal.
That's Crystal. Crystal said, even be careful with praying me through it, because their heart may not be pure toward me, and your praying me through, it may be in your favor and not where God wants me. We can talk about that, because that is very, very true. That's why either you, when you lead in prayer or when you end in prayer, it's never about you. You always said, let God's will be done, because you can't do anything for anybody. I'm not a believer. You don't hear me all the time. It's certain people I'll say, well, pray for me. I always tell them, pray for somebody else, because there are certain people I know who are prayer warriors that can help pray. But me personally, for myself, I pray my way through, and I got a couple of people that stand by me that has been praying, for me and what I want to do. But that right there, Crystal, you're right, because some people don't have your best interest. Some people like to sit there and watch you like a soap opera, seeing that you're going through everything, and they're happy. They be your friend, your best friend, your ace coon, and they sitting there eating their popcorn, drinking their drink,
and happy
that you're going through.
I got to jump in right here. I'm happy y'all brought that up. Like I said, when you start touching my spirit, that's when I'm like, okay, tag. It's not about it's not about a me or you thing, though, and that's, I think, what we need to realize. Because what is a friend? What is an enemy? And because it's intertransferable, it means at one moment you could be one thing, and at the other you could be another, right?
Right. Yes.
It's about and I hate coming up with this, but I have to say it. From what I understand, we're not up against flesh, but principalities and powers. Right? So when we look at it from that angle, it's not Michelle. It's whoever the devil is using in that moment to come for you. And I'm happy that you brought up the prayer part, because like you said, I have the face of Michelle, and I'm praying for you. At least that's what I think I'm doing. But I'm not the one that's supposed to be doing that. Who told me to do that?
Yes.
You might have to be going through some things, and did God tell me to interject? Like, he might have something for you to experience for a reason. Because every test is about having a testimony at the end.
Yes.
So that's why when people be like, oh, my friend, for me, everybody is an associate and acquaintance. You got to put in work to be my friend. I'm sorry.
My confidant.
I don't just use that word loosely. I don't just, everybody's my friend. No, it takes work. Just like your relationship with God takes work. The same kind of work that you have to put in to have a relationship with God, I'm expecting a fraction of that for you to call yourself a friend of mine.
Wow.
So, as I listen to everything and I think about the law number 2, it's just quite interesting to me, because everything has a season.
Yes.
So you could be a part of this season and not the next. It doesn't necessarily make you an enemy. And a lot of people will label that as you being an enemy, because you weren't invited to this season of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that I look at you any differently. So I think we need to understand the definitions, take a step back, evaluate what that really means.
Yes.
And then when you go out there and you interact with people and you're executing on what you believe the definition to be, you're going to have a different understanding. You're
Yes.
going to cultivate different relationships, and
Mhm.
life is going to appear differently. I
Yes.
think a lot of what we do, or what we've been doing, is living off of, breathing off of, feeding off of things that happened so long ago, and not really understanding what it is for us today and
Yes.
adjusting.
Yes.
So we have a lot of expectations of people that we can't even execute ourselves.
And they don't even have the capacity to be who we want them to be. We have to meet them where they are and make assessment
Yep.
right then and there. And I always believe in just being mindful of your audience. So you don't need to talk to your single friends about your marital situations, because they don't have the capacity. They don't have the capacity.
I disagree, because I'm single today, but I was married.
Well, I'm saying someone who has never been married.
Okay.
You
Okay.
should not, as a married woman, it is not in your best interest to talk to your single friend about because they don't have the capacity. They are living a single life where they don't have to make adjustments, face the same challenges. They get to come home and go alone and be alone. You come home with that husband, and if y'all got kids, you might not get your peace of mind to maybe 12 o'clock at night.
Mhm.
So being mindful of your audience will also derail from a lot of drama. From, oh, well, this person is hating on me. They may not be hating on you. That may not even be something to be put on the table. It could be that you're giving them a task, or you putting on their table. When you talk to people, people gravitate those things, and they may
you do know that the new vibe for hating on you is me telling you the truth. You say I'm hating on you because I'm telling you the truth. I wasn't gonna let you run by that. No, I wasn't gonna let you run by that, because that's how they do. If I'm being honest with you, let me be honest with you. I'm not doing it to hinder you. I'm not doing it to harm you. I'm being honest, because a real friend would do that.
Now, real friends will like you, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Y'all can have disagreements today and have coffee in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going anywhere, because they just love the fact that you are alive in the earth, and they just like that you're in their life.
Exactly.
But we should always be mindful of our audience. Some people do not have the capacity to have certain conversations. Now, if you're a millionaire and you got your own empire, you should not be talking to your staff about money issues.
Mm-mm.
Just being mindful of your audience.
I got to play devil's advocate when you say that, because I respect and I understand that notion of it. But then there's thoughts around, well, how do you teach people? How do they grow? How do they learn different things?
Well,
so I may not be in it today, but I'm aspiring to be a wife, right? So why wouldn't you have those conversations with me? Or you're a CEO of an organization that's dealing with a lot of money. I'm aspiring to own my business one day. So what does that look like? So for me, I've always heard people say things like, well, I had to go through X, Y, and Z. I'm a firm believer. And if I went through it and you're in my circle, you're not going through that. What you go through is something we've never experienced before. Right. It's something that I never experienced before for you to be able to go through it. And then I'm learning from that. But if I went through it, I'm making sure I shield you, that you don't have to experience the same thing, because then it's a waste of time. Why are you even in my circle?
There's a time and a place for everything. For me personally, I can't speak for everybody else, but for me personally, it's a time and a place for everything. And being as a Christian, the Holy Spirit will prompt me when to share a testimony. So it's a setting and a place and a season and time for everything. So why, if it's not a season for that, I'm not just gonna dump that on you. But if you're having a conversation with me, if we're having a conversation and it is prompted in my spirit to share that with you, so that you may take that and mirror it whenever you come into that circumstance, then of course I'm gonna share that. But in an intimate setting where it is unnecessary, I'm not going to share that. And if I'm gonna be in a place where there's a need and I need to be in a place of being a teacher, then that's what seminars are for. And you make sure that you have those people that are needing that information. It can have that available to them. But it's all about the right time and the right season for things. Some things are being taken out of season. That individual may not have the capacity to receive that. They may be still trying to figure out themselves. So you, a married woman, don't need to put that on them unless the Lord is telling you to. Now that's from a Christian point of view.
Mm-hmm. And
now, if y'all girlfriends and this is y'all setup, then that's a whole different subject. This is just simply my impression of the matter.
Mm-hmm.
You separate yourself, don't put yourself in those entities what going on between friends or married couple or you, but people that are married that deal with situations that is married, and the people that are single in a single position. Because I was single and I was married, and I've been through all those situations.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. When the Lord humble you to talk to people, He would give you to tell you what He wants you to say. He will give you discernment.
Yes.
He will put people around you in certain places that He wants you to be at. So you had to look at. I had to look at all those aspects of dealing with friends, enemies, But the thing with me, I try to love my enemies, but still got to keep them. You got to keep them to pray for.
Yep, and you got to have healthy boundaries. Healthy boundaries says you may not like me, but if it's something in me that's going to help you, and that is what God wanted me to do, because it says, "Pray for those who spitefully use you, love your enemies, and pray for those who spitefully use you." So the Lord will still have you minister to your enemies.
Mm-hmm.
He will, if it's a hater and they having problems in their marriage and you're married, He might give you a word of knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
and that might help them to go on and maybe be fruitful in their marriage. But to me, it's like someone said earlier, discerning when
Mm-hmm.
to have conversation with the individual, because they may be in a season where God is not ready for them to hear that. And I like what you were saying earlier. You were saying that maybe that individual is going through a test. Yes, to have a testimony, but also to develop your character. You know, a lot of things is to develop your character. Maybe you're immature in that area and God is wanting you to elevate in that area for that leadership, for a single person, for that marriage. You know, patience for when you have kids. So everything is in a season. Ephesians says there's a time for everything. There's a season for everything.
Toyana, what was it that you wanted to say?
Oh,
Also,
your face is reading it all.
point. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Well, to your point, Michelle, you know, the conversation wanting to geese. You know, when it presents itself.
You breaking up.
Well,
yeah.
really? You hear me now?
You breaking up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe I just hold my head to the side. So, you know, I'm you know, you have to eat the fish. As Emily said, you know, who have been through things to share, even on a business level, and things that they've been through, what has someone, you know, what are they talking about? You know, but I have learned firsthand, learned something from somebody who lives on the shore, whether it's, you know, hate towards this, or you can say to do, and to make sure that we don't run off from teaching moments to learn, because it isn't ideal. We don't use within that moment, and that everybody who comes is just discernment also comes in. So it's kind of like a balance. I've had the conversations with mental conversations,
Mm-hmm.
and they complain, but in that particular moment, side of them, whereas your businesses and things like that, end of the day, and they still need to have all of the answers. So when it, meeting with other business professionals myself, I understood that this life is an ongoing process. The
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're not. That's
Learning.
but we have to have some conversations about how you let that conversation. So just agree to come and they talking all crazy, and okay, will you be well, be blessed. Business. That's some of those bones I was talking about.
Mhm.
But some people really things, even though they may stand this out of sorts, but those people a serious word for you, encouragement, or back in 1985. So I even down to like people. I was a little leery about just I had a conversation with somebody there. Said, you know what? Tell them don't pray for name up. And that is like the equivalent. How people can say, "Oh, you can do anything," but you not know exactly. That is how telling people not to pray for you feel away either. But just say, just you can lift my name up, and that's it.
Yeah. Because you have to know there's a difference between someone praying you through from a place of love and a soulless prayer is a pray for your ruins. And the difference is your heart condition. What is your heart condition towards me? If it's envious and it's rotting you on the inside, you're going to pray rotten prayers. But if it's from a pure heart that is not contaminated or corrupted or is not geared to seeing my ruins or geared to see my ruins, that's a soulless prayer.
Well, I'm not going to pray for people. When Lord tell me don't pray for a certain person, he tell me don't pray for that person, because you can get some people that come ask you to pray for them.
Mm-hmm.
But the Lord tell me don't pray for them. Handle with some people like that. And when he tell me don't pray for them, I don't.
And it's not to feel bad about it.
I don't feel bad. Way of life.
Tell them that you're not praying for them, or do you tell them yes and then? Oh, okay. I'm just asking.
No,
I ain't never been in that position, so
I do this here.
Don't do it. They be wanting to fight you then.
Wait a minute. No, not necessarily. You just nod your head as in yes, okay. That's not being true to yourself, though.
No, but sometimes you can say, okay, I do. I just nod my head. Okay, I do it. But in the back of my, when I say I do it, then Lord, he might be going helping that person, working that person through something without us getting in. Sometimes you got to go.
I understand that too, but then that's being close to yourself, though. When you saying, when somebody asks you, this is what I do. When somebody, and I don't feel that I need to pray for them, I said, have you prayed? And they'll be like, yeah. I said, well, let God's will be done. And I'm done with it. But I don't nod as if, because you don't even know what you're nodding to, because as they always say, when two or more in the midst, so shall it be.
Yeah.
So you're nodding in agreement, and you're not even knowing that you're putting yourself in that spiritual way. So you have to be
Yeah.
honest, not just to them, but to yourself. If you know you're not going to pray, it's not going to hurt you. And if they feel a certain type of way, that's not on you, that's on them. You gave them your truth. You know that
Yeah.
God told you, you say this ain't the moment, but if you pray, whatever God has for you is for you, and let his will be done. But
And let's
never
be mindful.
not in agreement, because you
And
don't know what you're nodding for.
Yeah.
so let's be
That's
mindful
right.
about prayer too, because when you pray from somebody, you know their demons, they come in your house.
Yeah.
The
I ain't
hell
never
that they
said
going
I
through,
said,
it's yeah. You become.
That's because you're standing in the gap when you shouldn't be standing in the gap. You have to know how to do intercessional prayer versus just being a prayer warrior. A prayer warrior never puts themselves in the midst of being in that interceding and standing in that gap. They will pray for you, and it's a defined prayer. Intercessional prayer is I'm fighting with you.
Yes.
I'm right there with you. I'm
right.
doing this with you. You know, you have to be able to discern the difference in order to know what you're up against.
Well, I guess I'm the intercessor, because I can testify when I pray for people, our hell break loose. I guess my fiery prayers is just like they be like, woo, where this coming from? Oh, that's going.
I understand, but know the difference. Yeah, you have to know the difference.
And everybody is not your assignment. Everybody is not your
Mm-mm.
assignment.
Amen.
And everybody don't need to do a prayer project. Some people need to just have an intimate relationship with the Father. It will clear everything. Maybe they need to just mature. Maybe they need to let some people go. Maybe they need to stop operating in fear. Okay? Because when you stop operating in fear, you can clear up a whole bunch of stuff, especially when you operating in people pleasing. Some people got to go. It doesn't mean that you're not this loving, caring person. It just means there is just not that season for them to be in your life.
And I don't believe in letting people go. What I do is I leave you where you at, because you are hindering me from going where God wants me to go. So I'm gonna leave you where you at, and I'm gonna still, be cool with you or whatever. But I'm gonna continue on that journey to help more than just whatever. And then when you have grown, then I'm gonna move. Then you will probably end up catching up where I've been, and I'm still gonna talk to you. I'm gonna still, but there's a way to handle everything.
Yes, I agree.
And that's the way you're supposed to do it. And and most times all you gotta do is say, Lord, show me. And he's on time. Just show me.
The
And
mask will fall off. The mask will fall off. Yes, I totally agree.
Crystal just said, I tell people, if you prayed about it, then be still and be quiet and wait on God. Everyone isn't meant to pray for you. Go to your war room and sit with God. Yeah.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen. Amen. That's the best place you can be instead of asking for prayer, is to be in his presence yourself.
Understand that there are times when a friend can be used to a greater effect than the enemy. If you plan to go rear for some reason, you can use a friend as a convenient scapegoat. You're not supposed to do any of that, but a lot of people do. A man of power often has dirty work that has been done, but for the sake of appearance, it's your preference to have other people do it for him. So you have to be mindful when, especially if you're calling this person a friend, that they might have you there to do their dirty deed, and then they in the background and they looking all spiff and they looking at you wrong. So you have to understand that that's even in friendships. You have to understand who is truly a friend, because you have people that'll do that to you. And understand, even with enemies, I tell people this all the time, with this law right here, when you use your enemies, if let's say you got your social media and you're speaking on what you're speaking on, and it trauma somebody, they get into this trauma and they go to talking crazy, use it to your advantage. They are not, they don't even realize that you can use them to your advantage, because guess what? They're gonna tell Jack, Sally, May, Jenny, they're gonna tell over 1,000 people, and everybody gonna come running to follow you to hear what you're saying, just to figure out why she's so up, or he or she is upset with you.
Free
Use it
marketing.
to your advantage. You know, you can say a little something and say, "Oh, I didn't know you felt that way," and it might be they don't like God, and you say, "But God be with you." And then she gonna be over there. See. She don't let. See what I'm talking about? She just throwing God on everybody. She doing it. Use to your advantage. There's a nice way to go about,
Yes.
using the people to get you where you need to be in
Yes.
business or whatever it is that you do. You
Yep.
just have to figure it out and understand how to enhance that conflict, which is not a conflict on your end, it's a conflict on their end,
Yes.
to the advantage of building you up. I see people do it all the time. Like I said before, there was this young man talking about he didn't like black women, he loved white women, and black women couldn't do nothing for me, and I don't like black women, blah, blah, blah. And when I tell you over 1 million people viewed that, they put that boy on the map.
Yes, they
They
did.
put him on the map. And and he's that way. And once he got where he wanted to be, and they followed him. I don't understand this with people, especially with us black women. Why is it if you don't like what they say, why are you following them? Why is it there's such a need? Was there something? Is you feeding on this mental abuse? I scrolled by, I saw it, and then I went back and I said, wait a minute, let me see what's going on with his statistics and his following and stuff. This man had over 10 million people following him. Why are you following him if you don't like what you said, but you using it and you ain't doing nothing? You showing his video while you going off about what he said. You ain't doing nothing but hyping this person.
Free promotion. Free promotion.
Exactly. He's sitting back like, yeah, I'm gonna let them work for me. And he'll come back on and talking about black women. They so stubborn and they so hard headed, and I don't like it because they are flip of the lip and this, that, and the third. And I'm sitting there, it'll fly up because somebody said, see how he talk disrespectful to us, and he's saying this about us, and talking about we got attitude and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, but you out here with attitude because you don't let what he said affect you.
Yes. It didn't offended you, and you didn't he capitalizing on your hatred.
Exactly. He making his dollars.
Yep. He capitalizing on
you have
that.
to have enemies. I don't care what anybody say. If you in this world and you don't have an enemy, then I don't.
You're in a bubble because they're there. You just not.
Because
they're there. You just not acknowledge.
Keep you uncomfortable.
Yes.
And in my head, enemies can also be your friends, and your friends can also be your enemies. So they both do entwine. So if this is the case, you ain't never supposed to be comfortable. You never get. And my dad used to tell us that all the time. Never be comfortable around anybody. No one. Never.
Don't tell your left hand what your right hand doing.
Amen.
And like they said, move in silence.
Mm-hmm.
And don't
in silence.
get
Everybody
costly.
don't need to know your whole story. Everybody
Don't
don't need
get what,
to know your
Toya? Don't get what?
Slipping.
Don't get caught slipping. Yeah. You can use people to be an untapped gold mine. You just have to learn to exploit it in your own way. And this is talking about social media. I ain't talking about in life. I'm talking about when you're trying to get your gains. Use that to exploit and to learn and to know how, because sometimes those hard lessons you get, it will hurt your heart, but it'll also build you. You just have to know that you don't let anything keep you down. You get up, you learn it, you maneuver with it, and you figure it out. And then the next time you will see it coming before it hit, and you be like, okay, well, swerve.
Yes.
So
I definitely agree. Allow it to be something that you build from, not allowing it to tear you down.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And and some people think they're deserving of certain positions. Understand they're not. Because you're a friend, you're not deserving of anything that's dealing with me unless I define that and state that that's the way it's supposed to go. More favoring gifts you supply to reveal in your friendship with gratitude. I think gratitude is everything. I'm thankful for anything and everything that anybody ever done for me.
Absolutely.
Because they didn't have to. And when they do, they do. Crystal just said, I have a friend for 19 years. It wasn't until I was a month before my wedding that God revealed to me that this person wasn't my friend. We were only friends because it was a one-person competition. I never realized that we were competing until God revealed when when God speaks, listen, that's funny. And I
Wow.
tell people all the time, I'm not your competition
Because we
because
both.
I'm my
Yeah.
competition. I look in the mirror every day. I be looking, I say, hey, what can we do better?
Today.
I'm like, oh, you messed that up yesterday. What can we do to do better?
Yeah.
I can't see another Black woman as my competition when I'm seeing her as someone that can be elevated. I can't. It's not something that a lot of people take with pride, because I'm telling you, in this day and time, the way I listen to these Black women out here, they are such nasty women in the way that they disrespect each other, and you shouldn't even be that way. If you looking at someone because they walked through a door and you already decided what you decided, you're not being what you were called to be.
And that's
We
insecurity.
are those people that God has made. We is what we made. We are the creators. We are everything. We hold the power. And you ain't doing nothing but destroying yourself when you destroy someone else.
Yes. Like I said, if you're going to dig a ditch, dig too.
Exactly. And even with these women that talk bad about these Black men, this one woman I was listening on Clubhouse, and I knew it was coming because the way the guy was talking about, he just went to the woman. I think he should have never went to her and told her he liked her dress, but he didn't like her attitude. And so this woman, because she's traumatized, and he said it, he claimed he said it in a nice way, but it was the fact, I believe he was interested in the girl. And because she had this face that I do sometimes when I'm out and about, don't mess with me. I don't want to be bothered. Don't say nothing, or you gonna get hurt, because I don't want to be bothered. I don't want to look invited. I don't want you trying to come talk to me, because the first time I say, and this have happened several times, if I say, hey, back, hey, so what you up to? None of your business. I just say, hey, let me walk on.
Yes.
And a lot of men don't know no better. So, sometimes you have to give them the ugly face or the ugly attitude.
So they can leave you alone.
Don't
selling
bother
nothing.
me.
Yes.
Life is too short. I ain't got time for you trying to blow me up, burn me up, or hit me in my face, because I'm not going to stand there and talk to you. I'm out.
Yes.
I'm out. I'm gone, because I ain't want to be in here in the first place. So anyway, back to the story. So the woman that got on, she was traumatized. She said, all men are evil, especially the Black men. All men are evil. All men is this. All they do is want to hurt you and want to do wrong towards you, and you can't trust nobody. And they kept telling her, don't say that, because she was like, and she said, you and you and you this, you that. And he said, I ain't do nothing. I'm telling my truth, and you coming in here to badger me. When I tell you, for 15 minutes, they could not get her to shut up. They had to kick her out. She was on a tangent, really, really bad. It was like, bring her back. She got to, somebody needs to tell her, it's okay, and you need to heal. And she kept on saying, I'm healed. I'm just letting you know how it really is. And I'm like, but we all on both sides say the same thing. You got Black men who say they don't want to fool with Black women because they got attitude, or they think they better, or they got standards, and they got this and the third. And then you got Black women saying men ain't shit, and they ain't this and they ain't that, and they can't do this. And I always say, on both ends, it's about who you choose.
Yeah.
You decide to lay down with. If you, like Big Mama said, if you lay down with dogs, you definitely gonna get up with fleas. So if that's what you choose, that's on both ends of the spectrum. If that's what you choose to do, that's what's going to happen. And we can't build as people and trusting, and because I'll never sleep with my enemy, but I might sleep with my friend who I really believe is a friend. But you have to understand that, and as people, we got to come back together and understand. That's why Black people are not bonded the way they should. We got to select the few that are. They trying to build. They working together with others and trying to build them. But you got those ones that's in that clothing. We got to annihilate and get rid of them, because all they're doing is here for the destruction. They're not here to be true, because they still aligned to the other folks. And every time Black people get together to try to build, you always got to be mindful of who you have in the midst.
Yes. And then mental illness is a real thing that in our community that people are not gravitating to. When you have triggers, that's coming from a wound that you have not been healed from. Just for the simple fact that she was on that platform walling out, saying she's healed. No, honey, you are not healed. The very fact that you are all right shows that you are not healed.
Mm-hmm.
It is nothing saying that you are crazy because you go and sit down and talk with a psychiatrist or a therapist or a counselor to unpack emotional wounds that have been lying dormant for maybe 20 years in some people's cases. You may
Mm-hmm.
be being molested and you never got an apology. That person might be dead and gone and you're still holding on to that bag of hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of our community is holding on to things even back in when slavery days when some of us weren't even born.
Generational curse.
You need to go sit, you need to just because just like we take care of our bodies, we eat healthy, we drink lots of water, get enough of rest, and we exercising, we're taking care of this body. But we also got to take care of our soul, our thinker, our feeler, our reasoner. You got to take care of your soul because if your soul is wounded, everything gonna feel familiar to that pain until
Mm-hmm.
you get to the root and get some healing.
Yeah. And you have to understand this too when it comes to your spirituality and things that happened back in the day and you don't understand why. Go back and look through your history. Go back and look at everything. Why you had a praying great great grandmama who taught your mama and your grandmama and everybody how to pray and when to pray over their children. You look back at all of that. Look, and because you have to understand this world already put black people in a box. And then we got the audacity to put ourselves in a box. And then we got people around you trying to put you in a box. All of these boxes ain't doing nothing but crushing you down. When all you have to do is step out and be true to who you are, because the slave mentality is worse than the mindset of what the world wants. Because if you got a slave mentality and you're not understanding, you think you all right, you think everything is fine when it's not. When your way of thinking, the way of teaching, it's something that's dormant in your DNA.
Yeah.
Trauma travels in spirituality through DNA. It comes out the loins of a man that in birth into a woman, and she's carrying that plus the traumas within herself that's been given to her from her fathers and mothers. And you have to understand that, and you have to, when you see it, you got to be able to recognize it, and then you got to destroy it. And sometimes we don't because we're, as they say, comfortable in the skin that we're in, when it's the part of you that's really just nagging you, that's really just bothering you, and but you do nothing about it because you don't even understand it.
And then in some instances, some families keep so many secrets that you could be going through spiritual warfare from generational curses and not know nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, people like to sweep stuff under the rug.
Yeah, because it was okay. It happened. It was okay. And a lot of kids now, they don't like that.
They want to talk about it.
I'm not going to be ashamed of what I've been through.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of people that's like that. They, one girl was saying on there that she's the black sheep of her family. I understand it. I get it. Everybody look at her different because guess what? Her walk with God is different.
Yes.
She's not walking like they're walking. She's not in the same mindset as them. But at least she has the courage to walk alone. There's nothing wrong with walking alone because you're never alone when you got God.
I agree.
That's right.
So, it's to each his own. When you with your friends, you're still alone. You just have to understand that. Because your walk of God is something that's intimate between the two. It ain't with everybody. I can celebrate with everybody with God in the midst. That's it. But my walk with him is a personal walk, just like everybody else.
Absolutely.
And when God would bring you the worst person to tell you something that came from him. And you better heed, because like my daddy will tell you in a minute, a baby can tell you something. Don't cut that out because it's a baby.
Yes.
Understand? A mule can tell you something and they can't even talk, but it's the way that they deliver to you. You got to be able to hear.
Yeah, don't worry about the packaging except the message.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Anybody else got 2 cents?
2 cents gone out the door.
2 cents gone out the door.
Gone out the door.
Okay, 2 cents gone out the door. Michelle, do you have any final words?
Oh, I just think that this was another great topic about the laws. Definitely resonated with me. And I can't wait to see what next week brings, but I'm thankful for this time with you ladies, learning a lot, understanding that you're not in this alone because trauma shows up in different ways. Some it's very loud, others it's very discreet, but nevertheless it's still trauma. So understanding that, and like you said, we do all this work on the outer exterior, and it's the inner man that causes all the problems behind closed doors, right? So we dress for the part, but then, we got to make sure we're taking care of inside. So that would definitely be my 2 cents and my conclusion.
Yes.
Emily?
I definitely believe that with law 1 and 2, that we need to be, again, mindful of your audience, mindful of your positioning, and don't take anything for granted. God can use your enemies as well as use your friends. He can even use a bad boss, because what he revealed to me through that journey of that bad boss was simply this: I didn't want to be that person. And I shared some character traits with that boss that after that ordeal, it's like the fires, like he burned it out of me. I went through a refining. Trials is going to be a refining that you go through with trials. And so I thank that boss for that experience, because it made me a better person. It made me believe in leadership from a point that you don't have to be insecure, you don't have to be inferior, and you don't have to be superior to anyone. Just own who you are, celebrate who you are, and show up and bring the best to the table. And if that's something that people don't want to gravitate to, that's fine, but keep shining. And that's my 2 cents.
Alois?
Y'all don't say the 2 cents. I see I ain't had nothing to say about 2 cents. And I agree with
Okay.
y'all.
I'm just asking. Toyana?
Just keep it simple and do you and love you.
Okay. Toyana?
This was just awesome platform. A great platform. Appreciate it. And it's for other people's opinions. Your feelings within a safe. Thank you so much.
Okay. I'm gonna say this and then we're gonna push it on. Understand that even with your friends, you might think you might know them better than you do. And sometimes you don't. Understand that strengthening bond that you have with some better than others is a bond that wasn't created by you, is a bond that was created in a spiritual dimension. Because some people who consider themselves your friends, they hide their true feelings about how they really feel about you. So you have to understand that that's not being a true friend. Honesty is everything. People want to feel that they deserve the good fortune of having that person truly in their corner. So be mindful and don't ever feel undeserving. Figure out what the root of the problem is and get an understanding from that, so you won't ultimately have resentfulness because of it. In conclusion, it's always, I'm going to say it again, it's always better to hire an enemy than to hire a friend, because it just don't work out. Because you try to tell a friend something they're doing wrong, they got attitude, and there go your business. So next week, we're going to go and dive into law number 9. Law number 9 is win through your actions, never through arguments. And we're going to also do law number 10, infection. I'll avoid the unhappy and the unlucky. So we're going to dive into that. And exquisite taste, knowledge power hour. It says hour, but it should say 30 minutes, but 30 minutes don't sound right. So it's the knowledge power hour. We will be on at 6:00 Wednesday, and we will be talking with Abdullah. And I forgot his name just that quick. Well, Abdullah, I know who I'm talking about. So his first name is Abdullah. He is a I call him the credit king. He's got some little tidbits he wants out, and so we're gonna have him on like Wednesday at 6. That's when Exquisite Taste will have their Knowledge Powers Hour. And more to come with that. So next week we're gonna talk about 9 and 10, same time, same place. Always remember, use this. Don't play in life. Do not play checkers or tic-tac-toe. Learn how to play chess. If you don't, go read and understand chess so you can understand how that outplays in life. I feel like this book helps outlay that. If you don't have the book, get the book, follow along. I'm loving this. Crystal, thank you. Bestie, thank you. Petronella, thank you for your comments that y'all put out there. It's very appreciated. Always make sure y'all like, share, and have some people to follow. We're trying to build this on up. We got things to do. So do that for me, please. And always remember, love yourself enough to leave the table when respect is no longer being served. And y'all have